Imagine being told you have less than an hour to surrender everything you've ever known or face complete destruction. This isn't fiction. This is the story of the shortest war in human history, and it reveals the darkest truths about power and resistance. August 27th, 1896. The air on the island of Zanzibar, a vibrant jewel off the coast of East Africa, was thick with the morning humidity. But this particular morning, it also carried the weight of an impossible choice. The British Empire, a global force already controlling vast swaths of the region, had delivered an ultimatum that would echo through history. Sultan Khalid bin Bargash, the rightful heir to the throne, had exactly 1 hour to abandon his palace and step down. His alleged crime? A defiant refusal to be Britain's puppet, to bend to their will and allow them to install a more compliant ruler. This was not a negotiation. It was an order, backed by overwhelming force. Picture this young sultan, perhaps in his early 30s, standing at his palace windows, his gaze fixed on the horizon. There, 5 massive British warships, steel monsters of the sea, were positioning themselves in his harbor, their cannons glinting under the rising sun, ready to devour his homeland. Against this formidable display of naval power, Sultan Khalid could muster a mere 2,800 people willing to defend their sovereignty. These were not professional soldiers, but fishermen, craftsmen, and palace guards, ordinary people, armed with outdated rifles and a single converted yacht, his only semblance of a warship. It was a David and Goliath scenario, but with a far more brutal outcome. The British commander, his patience worn thin, signaled his fleet. It was precisely 9:02 a.m. What happened next defied comprehension, a swift, brutal display of imperial might. Within minutes, the tranquility of the morning was shattered. British naval guns unleashed hell, a thunderous roar that shook the very foundations of the island. The Sultan's yacht, his last hope for defense, erupted in flames and sank within the first few minutes, a mere toy against the onslaught. The ancient palace walls, standing for generations as a symbol of Zanzibari independence, crumbled like sandcastles under the relentless bombardment. The air filled with the terrifying sound of splintering wood, collapsing stone, and the screams of terrified civilians. In the chaotic crossfire, an estimated 500 Zanzibaris fell, their lives extinguished in moments. On the British side, a single sailor sustained a minor wound. By 9:40 a.m., just 38 minutes and 45 seconds later, it was all over. The war, if it could even be called that, had concluded. Sultan Khalid, his dreams of an independent Zanzibar shattered, fled to the German consulate, seeking asylum. The British, having achieved their objective, swiftly installed their chosen ruler, ensuring their strategic interests were secured. But here's the truly twisted final blow. The detail that makes this story so horrifying. Britain, in a final act of dominance, forced the devastated island to pay for the very ammunition that had destroyed their country and extinguished their freedom. It was an insult added to a catastrophic injury. Some British sailors, back on their mighty warships, didn't even realize they'd been in a war. Yet in those 38 minutes, an entire nation's independence died, its spirit crushed, and a crucial strategic trade route was secured for decades to come. The Anglo-Zanzibar War, the shortest war in history, stands as a stark reminder. It proves that sometimes the briefest moments of violence cast the longest, most enduring shadows of injustice, and that power, unchecked, can be utterly merciless.